Dzień dobry, assalamu alaikum, ciao, konnichiwa, bonjour, hola, good morning, privet. This is Ken from James Alexander reporting to you as ever on Ken at 10 here at James Alexander in our studios, also known as the back office where we have lunch in SW16. That's in Norbury, which is between Streatham and Croydon. And we're at the coalface here. We meet people daily that are looking to buy, looking to sell, looking to rent, and look to update you about what's going on and what's going on both in the local market and the wider market. As far as the local market's concerned, insatiable appetite for rented property is the only way I can describe it, particularly for smaller self-contained units, 1 and 2 bedrooms. 3 bedrooms are also proving quite popular. And as usual in our area, as you go up, it becomes actually less popular, unless, of course, you're doing the HMOs, where the small self-contained bills included rooms are gold. Obviously, a lot of people now looking to fix their costs, frightened of the energy crisis, and understandably so. House prices, they're up this year. Who knew? On average throughout the UK, 15.5% is the annual increase. And as far as the other news is concerned, something that caught my eye is over 55s taking out equity releases more than doubled. And this is indicative, isn't it, of a tougher time ahead when people are pulling the equity out of their houses. But it's one of those asset classes, one of the few asset classes that you can actually refinance. And if you don't know what equity release is, it's when you're older, 55 plus, typically 65, and you wish to release some capital out of your house. And this is not financial advice, by the way, but some lenders will allow you to release up to 50%, sometimes even higher, depending on your age. It's the one situation where actually the older you are, the more likely they are to give you a high percentage of money, because the closer you are to the inevitable, then people can release equity from their property, and then they will charge a fixed interest rate, which is generally above what you would pay on a mortgage, but something like that, perhaps plus 1, 2 or more percent. And of course, that then you can either, in some circumstances, some borrowers can actually choose not to pay back, but very quickly the interest rolls up, and obviously any of your beneficiaries of your estate or the people that are going to inherit from you will lose out on whatever proportion it is that you've borrowed, not paid back, plus the interest payments, which will roll over. So it is a very personal choice. It's not right for everybody. And if you'd rather give your children that inheritance and you can afford to do so, good for you. But for many older people now, it's no longer a choice, but a necessity. So interesting to see that that's doubled. Apart from that, something else that caught my eye today was regarding a developer who was fined £50,000 for destroying trees. I'm so pleased to see this because, there's a procedure called ring barking. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but if you want to kill a tree, basically what you do is cut around the bark, and then the nutrients can no longer reach the tree branches, and therefore the tree dies. And it is very sad, but a lot of developers have used it in the past to get rid of trees with what we call tree preservation orders on. That's where you've got a tree that's very beautiful, and the council have chosen to put a preservation order on it so that it can't be taken down. And some developers just go in bullishly and say, oh, the tree's dead, and remove it anyway. And this particular guy has been fined £50,000, ordered to pay £17,500 in costs, and has been issued a replacement order requiring him to plant 650 new trees. Good. More people should do that. It's an area called Horton Heath, not to be confused with the locally based Thornton Heath, but really pleased to see someone get their comeuppance for that. Rents are rising sharply in the cities. That's another article today in the Daily Telegraph. And as we've said, that's not surprising given what's going on. Many investors have chosen to take flight with the strong market and the increased regulation and taxes, and especially with the threat of the Scottish model, where they're talking about possibly bringing in rent controls. For those in the UK, I don't think we should be scared by rent controls, because the idea that they're going to control rents means that they can fix them only for a period of time, and then they would have to allow the flexibility of inflation increases. And that really goes to underline the beauty of property, is that it is linked to inflation. The value of property tends to be linked to inflation. When we have high inflation, we tend to have high property prices. And so, it is a great hedge against inflation. And if you're not selling, guess what happens in inflationary times to rents? Well, we're already seeing it. It's already evidence. Rents go up, and they protect you, therefore, from other expenses in your life related to inflation. And there are very few asset classes that can do that and give you that underlying strength, even going back to the times when they were investing in the South Sea bubble, and that all went wrong. This brilliant new stock market mystical tool. What did the smart ones do? Well, they invested in property. And it's the same with the gold rush. Many of the people that invested in the picks and shovels, went on to invest in property, and it's those property investments that came through stronger than anything else. So property never loses its luster, never loses its favor. There will always be times when it's up and down, and now is one of those times when some people feel the sheen has come off it, and sometimes when everybody else is looking away from an asset class, that's the time you should you should be looking at that asset class. And I think property falls into that category right now. You can find some good deals out there. There are some great houses to buy. Will the market fall off a cliff? My gut feeling is no. And the reason I think no is there's still a lack of supply of property coming through, and that lack of supply underpins property prices, put on top of the fact that we've got rising rents as well, and we've got a fairly healthy housing market. I say healthy, I would rather rents were actually a bit lower. I think it's very unfortunate for young people at the moment trying to get into the ladder now and trying to get places to stay. Many of our tenants now that used to rent one-bedroom flats can no longer afford it, and they've either got to go to sharing and rent rooms and then share one premises, or go back to a bedsit, a room rent with bills included. But now more and more of those bills included rentals are going away from that model, and they're renting the room, and then they're separately charging for utilities with individual meter in the rooms. So there's no easy way out for people. It really is tough times ahead, and no doubt for some time to come. I think it's time for battening down the hatches for many people, and that I think we'll see over the course of the next 6 months or so, if not longer. So be ready. But as far as the property market is concerned, still busy, still active. You know, if you're waiting for the right time to move, when is the right time to move? It'll almost never be there. Do it when it's right for you, not when you feel that the market is strong. As far as the market trends are concerned, September's a good time because there's still stock available, albeit in more limited numbers. That stock will start to dwindle as we get towards Christmas. From mid-October onwards, as it gets darker and colder, people tend to withdraw from the market or decide not to sell, or decide to wait until the other side of Christmas, particularly in the springtime, of course, which is the busiest time of year. So apart from that, not so busy on valuations today. So we've got lots of admin to do, which is a bit boring, but necessary. So apart from that, hope you're having a great day. Look after yourselves. And if you can, your family and friends. We'll be back tomorrow, same time. Ciao.